Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a YouTube exclusive for the Not Content Podcast. My name is Jerome Cuson. As always, please like and subscribe if you have not done so. Click the bell icon for notifications. We are going to be discussing the three most recent episodes of X-Men 97, that being Rise of Apocalypse Part 2, Weapon X Lies and DVDs, Danger.exe episodes 4, 5, and 6 when we last left you. There was some conflict about what was going to happen with Magneto and Xavier and Beast and that crew in Egypt, and we come back here in part two, and I do have to say, like the first half of this episode, I was a little bit skeptical, a lot more Magneto and Xavier stuff, but then the second half of this episode hits, and man, they really turned up the volume, not unlike what happened with Remember This in season one, and it very much ended in a similar way with Apocalypse straight up murdering Magneto in even more brutal fashion than what happened in the first season. This is a pretty remarkable episode, one of the best episodes of the series since its return, and I know we can kind of break it down further, but like, what if you went back in time and you wanted to kill baby Hitler, but you ended up creating Hitler? That's the sad irony. Is Magneto, who survived Hitler, ended up being responsible for creating another one.
Yeah, so I've been watching a lot of or rewatching a lot of Dragon Ball Z lately, especially the Future Trunk stuff. And if any of you are familiar with that, it's very much this idea that even though this character Trunks goes back in time to alter the past, once he went back to his current timeline, he realized that he couldn't change it and that there's only multiple timelines, and that no matter what he can change in the past, it won't affect his current future, right? So once I had this idea stuck in my head the night of this episode, I was like, and then everything started playing out, and I'm watching, and I'm like, oh no, everything on this is a set path. Like there is no changes. Everything is destined to be as is. Therefore, Magneto is creating Apocalypse, and he doesn't realize it, and that's the big revelation. And I just realized it once it started playing out, and once the event started playing out in the last 10 minutes, I was like, oh no, this is exactly what I theorized, and it was happening. Basically, like, yes, it's a time. Is it a time loop? I'm not sure. But basically, once the timeline is set forward, I know it's going to get kind of crazy with timeline or time travel talk, but man, like he set the events in motion for him to become Apocalypse, so it's like inevitable, right? So all this stuff that we see in like the first episode of him trying to change him, that was all destined to happen in order for Apocalypse to be on his journey. Are you following me, folks? I know it sounds complicated, but
It
that's just the
is
way certain time
that's
travel
time travel in a
is.
nutshell. Yeah,
So yeah, and I know that like it's hard to swallow, right? Like some of these notions, like maybe Gambit is not going to come back. Maybe like Magneto is really dead, and once you start,
Brian. If you watch the end of episode six,
I know I meant like dead as in like that's the Gambit that we're not going to get back, the happy one. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
he's
I
dead.
don't know about that. I'm a little skeptical, but I mean, look, we are certainly getting a Gambit back. What Gambit it ultimately is at the end of the season, we will soon find out. At the end of Survival of the Fittest, which is the finale of this season and will be coming out in about 3 weeks or so. But in terms of Rise of Apocalypse, we get a great line of dialogue when Apocalypse tells Xavier that he basically can't tone it because he doesn't have a spine, and that is one of the coldest pieces of dialogue that I've ever heard said in any Marvel project. And man, I really wish we had more of that in the movies. Like, I think that what makes the movies cool is that, like, they're clearly trying to create some connection between, like, people who don't necessarily read the comic book and, like, people who just appreciate the movies. But I have to say, like, the way that the dialogue is in the show, it's not always perfect, but you get some real gems in this episode and throughout the run, really.
Well, to me, the colder line was the one about the ants when Apocalypse kills Magneto, and then he's
Oh
standing
yeah, I
above
mean, and then it gets
Xavier. It's like,
repeated. That's a good
and
one
it looks
too.
like he's
Yeah,
gonna crush him, and he's like, I forgot the exact line, but it's as you should feel like a coward if you're standing above ants that you're about to squish or something like that. And it's like,
yeah,
yeah, I get that feeling, I get that vibe. So, and then of course Charles is just helpless, and it's just sad. And then they go back in time, obviously, or they go back to the current timeline, but it's like
yeah. We don't
Apocalypse
see
won
that,
the
but
battle.
We do.
So
We do
it's
get
yeah,
that.
it's very much like a dark, oh man, we lost the battle. How are we going to win the war type situation? And that's the vibe towards the end. But man, just the stuff about time travel, inevitability, and fate, like that's the stuff I really get into. And the fact that they tied in with like Cable and Apocalypse and these kind of like parallel kind of situations, if you kind of see it,
Mm.
opposite ends of the spectrum, obviously, but a very much like parallel in terms of like set destiny of what's to come and like your past coming in to influence your future. So I love all that stuff, and this really played out well. And it gets followed up much more, obviously, in the Danger Room episode later on, which was kind of mixed feelings about. But this episode is like probably the best, for my opinion, so far of both the regular run and 97. It's like a 10, and I don't know if I gave the 10 rating to many of the episodes. I think maybe one or two episodes last season. I know I came close to this season, but man, just this is the 10, the
Yeah,
perfect
this
10
is
without
about,
it.
I would say a 9.5 for me, but I mean, this is definitely a really, like I said, it's either this or Remember This. I think I still might have more fondness from Remember This, just because I think it was truly shocking. I think this one, I think you can kind of see, like, just because again we have more familiarity with the show with this being season two. Like, I just feel it's a tougher sell, right? Like, you can kind of see where they're going. And I mean, look, we really haven't talked about like what builds up to this, but and Sabanor basically feels like he's being betrayed by Magneto, and that's why he decides like I'm going to fulfill my destiny. And it's like I said, I think that the first half of this really just kind of builds into the second half, and that's why our concentration has been so much about it. But it is a necessary component, truly.
Also, I mean, you can't help but notice the whole, Anakin, Obi-Wan vibes, right? Anakin, how could you do that? You know what I mean? Like, and then Anakin's like, you betrayed me, right? Like the whole Anakin, you know what
I
I mean?
mean, it's a. I mean, it's. I don't know if it's a trope, but you
I don't know if it's a trope either,
definitely.
but it's definitely like a universal story about betrayal and then that person you kind of mentor becoming your arch enemy, right? Kind of thing. So it's really great storytelling in terms of like that kind of primal nature of it all, in terms of like just straight up betrayal and vengeance kind of thing, and that's the apocalypse role. And it's very like a human kind of story if you think about it, just this feeling of like being betrayed by one of your mentors, and then it becomes this whole thing about just totally destroying and overtaking the mutant race. So it's very like, that Hitler thing you talked about earlier, and it's very much on that. So that's why I love this episode so much. This next episode, I
No,
mean,
before
I
the
like a
before
okay,
we
go ahead.
go into that, you did you see the Watcher cameo in this episode as well?
Isn't he in every episode? Isn't that the key? I feel like he's in every
No,
episode
he was in Remember This, and he is
because I
also in
just
season
we
12.
just saw him in the last episode, which we're talking about in a few minutes, the Polaris one, right? For like 2 seconds.
Yep.
So I
So
don't know.
he's
Maybe
he's
maybe if I
always
go on a
there.
deeper dive, maybe he is in
Yeah,
the background of every episode. Maybe I'm just thinking that
but
way, but
apparently
yeah.
that he only was in um just these two. So not even necessarily this one. I'm sorry, I misspoke. So only in the most recent episode that aired, the Danger Room one, and episode five. I remember this from last year. But let's talk about an episode that is very polarizing, which I don't understand. I guess people have this idea that all TV shows are supposed to forward the plot. This one doesn't really do that, and I think that on the surface, this is a Wolverine episode, but really, in my opinion, this is a Morph episode because this is all about like Morph trying to make Wolverine realize his own trauma and being pissed that he basically used him, that I should say them, Sabretooth, Maverick, and Lady Deathstrike. And this is very much in the line, along the lines of John Carpenter's The Thing, as well as James Cameron's version of Aliens. And I think that gets literalized in this episode, Brian. I'll let you explain.
Well, a little bit more background. Remember that clip I showed you, that video of the original Japanese version of the X-Men animated series
Right,
intro?
that was floating around a ton after this episode aired, and you can see
Because
why.
the way that they designed the alien roaches is very similar to the alien roaches they designed in that opening intro, which had nothing to do with the actual show in the
I mean,
first
they're the
run.
brood. They're the brood, right? So that is
So
who the
I
mon.
guess the Japanese producers assumed that they were going to do these storylines, but once they got the actual American footage that had nothing to do with those storylines, so the intro was not matching the actual show. but I
Yeah.
guess in Japan no one cared because it was just the X-Men animated show.
I mean, it's just a
So
really cool opening.
so once they decided to bring in the Brood for this, they looked at my guess is they looked at that animated intro and like animated the Brood exactly to that kind of like version that they were going for in the anime opening. So that was my vibe. I was like, oh, they're finally leaning in toward that visual that they were trying to tease us with in the Japanese intro, right? That kind of like over the top sci-fi vibe with creatures and all kinds of shit that the X-Men have to fight. And this is what you get pretty much in this one. So I was really high on it right off the bat. And then of course all the little, like game over, man, game over, and all these little things, and it's like all these little references. And I was thinking more aliens than the
Really
thing, to be
great.
honest, because it just had more of that aliens vibe than the thing. Because the thing is
Yeah,
more
but
of
the
like
fact that there's a lot of impersonating going on, that it's
right.
and they're in
But
the
the thing is
snow.
like the
It's
animals were not like like morphing or anything. So I was like, that seemed like the missed opportunity. If you were really going for that, I would have rather seen like animals like mutating and morphing. But they just went with green blood, and I was kind of disappointed. But they did that with the humans, so I was like, okay, you didn't give me the animals shifting and changing, but you gave me humans exploding with roach body parts inside. So that was cool. So I was really like, okay, I'm sold. And then they did all the aliens references, and then once Wolverine turns, I'm like, God, this feels familiar. And then I realized I think that like this is the second or third time that his body's been taken over by like an alien or something, and then they becomes like this like uber
I'm sure
version
it's
of
happened a
Wolverine,
million times in the comics.
right?
Again, they're turning
But
Wolverine into a little monster. It is
yeah,
not subtle at all. And again, that's why it becomes a Morph
yeah,
episode, because Morph is like the one that wants to stop, let Wolverine get the adamantium, and like they're not happy about it, but they ultimately feel like they have no choice because they want to get Wolverine back. And then that ending conversation in the jet is very disheartening. I mean, like Morph is clearly Wolverine, and Wolverine is never going to reciprocate. And I mean, the fact that Morph tries to like get Wolverine to do what they want, and like they try it as Cyclops, and that's a really funny cameo. And then they turn into Jean. I mean, it's really compelling stuff. Like, I don't understand why this episode was so polarizing. I guess people just don't know how to watch TV anymore. I really like this episode as well. Like, was it as strong as the previous one? It wasn't. But would I have liked to have seen them do more with Wolverine not having the adamantium? Also, yes. But it's a byproduct of the fact that we only have 10 episodes. I mean, in this case, we have 9 episodes. Like, you just don't have the time to tell the stories. And I think that's what sucks. Like, I wish that, you know, we have become much more embracing of anime in this country. And I wish that could extend to something like this, where we could have like 20 episode seasons, and really get to tell the stories. Like, I think the X-Men are the one component of Marvel that could do it, because you have a lot of characters. You don't, like, it's not the Iron Man or Captain America. You have this team that is together. They are a soap opera. You can tell a lot of different kinds of stories, and it just feels like this Wolverine thing. Like, I think it works really well individually, but I think I also agree with the critiques that this could have been more with more episodes.
See, the critique I've been hearing is like the timing. It wasn't the right time. It's as good as it was, and I keep thinking like, what
I
does that
mean,
have to do with anything? Just, it was good or
I mean,
not.
do people not remember, like, the first season, the episode after Remember This was literally about Storm getting her powers back, and this episode is
I
about
know, I know.
Wolverine
I
getting
think
his
it's just people
adamantium
wanting
back.
something to like complain about. That's just that's my thing. I think it's just
I mean,
people
to an
want something
extent.
to
I mean, you can't dismiss the clickbait. I mean, you can't the
yeah.
grifters. I mean, that is a huge part of it. It's a huge problem in wrestling.
I
It's a
mean,
huge problem in Star
we're
Wars,
we're in a society that's complaining about the Odyssey for being historically not accurate. You see the irony
which
of
is
that?
genuinely one of the funniest. I mean, that is like
I mean,
it's
what the fuck are we
it is
doing?
the goddamn funniest thing. It is, like, I can't even be
A work
mad because
based
it's
on
so
fiction
funny.
should be historically accurate? What? What? A fantasy should be based in historical accuracy? What? So that's
Well, Brian,
my grifter throw of shade thing.
I want the historically accurate version of the X-Men. I want 1960s
Oh God.
X-Men. That's what I want.
Give
I
me the
want
yellow and
Cyclops.
black. The yellow and black attack. Yeah.
I want
I'm
the
not
original team only. None of the new characters. None of the woke new characters. I don't want the indigenous person or the black person. I want
Right. Yeah,
only.
yeah, yeah. That's the joke. That's the joke that's been going around with
But
the
the funny
Odyssey.
thing is there are people who will say that, and it's not a joke, and that's the problem.
Oh boy. Yeah, yeah. Unless they're pretending to be someone else and they're just from another
So
country
can
trying to
I
get us
just
pissed off.
say, poor Maverick, just like he's in the episode for 2 minutes, and
Right.
then dies.
Okay, so that was the thing is like, so how many people died? Like him, and then wasn't there
There
another
was
one that died
there
before
was another
someone
one died as,
in the
as
plane
well.
crash? So
Yes,
that Canadian team is like half gone, right? Like they killed half
yes,
that team. That was I was like,
yes.
wow, they killed half
I
the
mean,
team.
there was no Silver Fox. We never saw Silver Fox.
Okay, so remind me, who was the one that was the Wendigo, or is that a different Canadian team?
That's Alpha Flight, who we saw
That's
Alpha
Alpha
Flight in
Flight,
cameos thanks to Morph, but
right?
Alpha Flight
Because
was
I
not
mixed those two up.
involved.
I mixed up the Weapon X team with the Alpha Flight team because they're both Canadian. Not both Canadian, but you know what I mean.
Yes,
Like they're both centralized in Canada.
but I mean, again, I think I will always think of this as kind of more of a Morph episode than a Wolverine one because I
Well,
think
yeah, he's
they
got the
are the
most
ones.
dialogue too. Like, even did you notice that? Like, he's the
Yeah,
central
they
voice.
did. I think that well, and that's real. I think it's a really interesting choice because again, when you title the episode Weapon X, like you're making it seem like it's a Wolverine episode. Also, the Omega Red thing, like I people complaining about that, I think that's kind of valid. It does feel like bringing Omega Red out of nowhere is kind of
Well, I mean, he never dies, and that has me concerned. Like, does that mean he's
right.
like a zombie? Like, is he?
It was kind of putting a
Because
hat
they
on the head,
never explicitly say like what his powers are, right? Like, he was just a product of an
right?
experiment, and he was like a
But
super
it's
soldier
like
type thing.
the brood was good enough. Like just go with the
Right.
brood as
My
the villain.
criticism is like, how in the world is he going to control the brood? Like, what the fuck is going on here? And then they just like assumed that he can control them, and then I was like, I don't know
I'm
about
sure that
that.
we will perhaps find out in season 3, and we'll see.
Yeah, I
I
don't know.
mean,
We'll see, but um, yeah, I did like the fact that I don't know. I guess Sabretooth is a babyface now, which I'm cool with. Like reluctant
kind
babyface, but
of.
still a babyface. I mean, he's doing the right things. It's not like
Also
he's like,
clearly bisexual as well, or
yeah, or something.
not straight, right? Like that.
Right.
You got that message too, loud and clear. I hope.
Yeah, yeah. It's all yeah. I mean, considering that his I don't know, his kid is like probably hating him even more once he finds that out. But right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he doesn't
And
like it for being a mutant, then it's not going to get any better by being gay or pan
but
or.
my concern is like, did they get all the brood? Like they blew up the whole thing. Are we going to get a
I mean,
follow
of
up because
course
some
they
roach
didn't. I mean, of
escaped?
course they didn't. They would not.
And
There's going to
just the
be.
idea, like the body horror of it all, really like intrigues me because like the idea of like let's inject people with cockroach alien DNA and just see what happens, right? Again, what we do in the shadows. Like I've been catching up, and fucking Laszlo's has been just injecting random animals with the dude's blood, and all these abominations
It's
are
pretty
coming
funny.
about, right? And it just it's that same like Island of Doctor Moreau vibes, right? Like it's that kind of vibe that I was getting from that, which I am totally for. You know what I'm saying? And a little bit of the Spider Noir. If you have watched Spider Noir yet, like they kind of do that similar experimenting on humans
I
thing.
mean, that's the experimenting of humans thing is very much a Marvel tradition. I mean, my God, we're
Trope
going to get it.
tradition.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're going to get it with Clayface in October too. We're going to get
Yeah,
some of that
that's
as
true.
well.
Yeah, so I love those kind of like things because it's always like drawing the horror out, and that's what I liked
Yep,
about this episode.
it
So
absolutely is.
8.5 out of
All
10
right,
for me on this one.
yeah, I'm at about an 8, probably 8 out of 10. Let's talk about Danger.exe. A very mixed bag episode. Boy, oh boy, like this might be one of the weakest episodes of the entire series, I would say. But I think there's still a lot of good stuff in it. This episode essentially is about Xavier dealing with the trauma of Magneto's death. He's reliving it over and over again in the Danger Room, and the Danger Room is taking notes. And the Danger Room becomes sentient, manifests itself, and basically Xavier and Polaris, who is the offspring of one Magneto, they basically have to team up. And that's like in the big picture, that's what really matters. That like the Danger Room stuff is kind of it's very up and down. Like because they hop to Genosha, and that becomes a focal point because like Genosha is going to be essentially a sanctuary for mutants, and clearly they're building up to Valerie Cooper and the X Factor, doing something with them. We haven't seen much of the X Force lately, so again, like with this, like with the first season, there's a lot going on, and we'll see how it all resolves itself. But this episode, like I said, is a mixed bag because there is so much going on, and some of it works and some of it doesn't.
I know the character of, is it Danger? Is that what they call her? Danger? For the Danger Room,
Yeah,
like,
I think so.
so I guess that's from the comics. And look, I'm all about adapting the comics faithfully and all that kind of thing. But if the storyline doesn't work, man, it doesn't work. And this doesn't work for me at all in terms of this idea that it becomes sentient and becomes alive. Immediately when I see the body or like the physical form of the Danger Room, I immediately thought of the woman from Superman 3 that turns into the android at the end. And that's not a good thing. So I was like, oh man, this is where we're going with this. This is kind of like wacky. Like, wacky is the exact term I used to describe this episode. Like, this total, like, oh yeah, what if the Danger Room becomes alive, right? And of course, yeah, that's from the comics. But when you say it out loud, it doesn't really have like, whoa, that's a great idea, right? Like, it just sounds like, what the fuck are you talking about? The Danger Room comes alive. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you mentioned Star Trek: The Next Generation, and of course, we're both fans of the show. I'm still on season 5, doing my slow burns like I always do. But the hologram room, right? This is basically like the
Yes,
hologram
that's
room and the
why.
Danger Room are like
What was the
parallels, right?
on Wednesday morning? What's the message that I sent you?
I don't have it exactly with me, but I remember you saying like this is the Next Generation episode of the
This is
series,
a
right? Like,
This is a Star Trek episode, and it
right.
very much is.
So yeah, with Picard and, oh, obviously Picard and Xavier, the same person, right? Like, it's so weird that Picard, like, Patrick Stewart, like, is like iconic for these two roles, yet somehow he has a Danger Room in both, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, the Danger Room and the holographic room are like the same thing in terms of like storytelling devices. And yeah, this is basically, let's say, like, the hologram room came alive and started taking over the ship, right? Like, I think that might have actually happened a couple
Uh-huh.
times, but in this case, it just doesn't fucking work for this universe, man. Because it's like, how does it become alive in the first place? How does it get a physical body? Is it just made up of like wires and shit? And it was just so many like questions that were like, there's like too many random questions that pops up in your head seeing this thing come alive, man. So that it really like took it away from me. Like, this is one of the lower episodes for me. Like, it went from like the highs 2 episodes ago to like, wow, they went with this kind of wackiness. And I get that it's, I don't know if this is
I mean,
supposed to be
it is. They're
filler
using this story as a vessel
for the
to
Polaris
get
story, but I don't know
right
if you
because
could have just,
Polaris is important because Polaris is the
right.
offspring of Magneto. Like we can't. I want to
I felt like
underline
we
that.
could have done this in like the last episode, or like the episode, was it episode 2 when they went with the cable stuff? And then the
I mean, maybe, but like
Jubilee
Xavier,
goes.
but
Yeah, Jubilee
Xavier and
says the thing.
Polaris,
Yeah.
Xavier was in Egypt at that time, and Magneto wasn't dead yet. So they couldn't. I mean, again, the problem we
Okay, I
only have
get
9 episodes.
it. That's the
Like
problem. I get it. I get it. So you need this
it's about
problem.
episode count. Like this, like you probably like there's again. I think the part of the problem is like we're doing too much, right? And I really wish this was if this was 13 episodes instead of 9 episodes, you could probably make this make more sense, and you could probably
Right.
do. And again, I don't necessarily know that you can make it work better in a
Or
two
maybe you
part.
just build up to it like like certain things that are like, is the Danger Room like starting to turn
Well,
alive?
what you could do is you could do part one is like the first half, and then the ending reveal is Danger becoming sentient and flying off to Genosha, and then all part two is in Genosha.
See,
Like
that
that's
would
how
have
you
been
could do it.
better. And the other thing too is like they try to focus on the kids, right? Like the new recruits, but they didn't really have a chance to shine. They were just there to complain mostly.
I mean,
So I
that's
was like,
fine. I don't
I
really
was like,
care about that. Like that
because
doesn't
I
really
I
matter
would
to
like to
me.
see like, oh, are we getting like some new X-Men in the fold here? What are we going? What's this new generation gonna do? Are we gonna educate them? Are we gonna train them for fighting? Like, what are we gonna do here, right? Because they're in this. The X-Men are in this dilemma right now, where like the school's technically gone, right? And X-corp is what, a defense force type of company, right? Like, it's not like a school. It's more so defending like mutants around the world.
Uh huh.
So like, I
I
don't
mean,
know,
we'll
like
see.
this.
Like I don't know.
It's
I
it's
don't
this middle
have a
ground though.
good.
We're like, are the kids gonna still have like this education, or we got to train them right off the bat to be soldiers? And I'm kind of like iffy on that because
I mean,
you know
are we
my
getting a
feelings
spin
on that. I
off?
think.
Are we going to spin like some of these characters off? I mean,
Well, more so,
you
I'm
can make
worried
an
about
argument.
their souls, right? Like, you don't want to have these like mutant kids corrupted at such a young age that they want to become freedom fighters right off the bat. Like, you need to give these kids an education, right?
Perhaps.
Like, so that's my concern. Is like, is Charles going down this dark path where he's turning the students into warriors instead of like students? You know what I'm saying? And they kind of like teased a little bit of that in the movies towards the end with, I guess, Dark Phoenix a little bit. But like this seems to be like an issue that I think will become an issue because I think some of the kids are going to be rebelling. That's my theory because it just seems like they're setting that up, but you never know.
Yeah, I think the stuff with Polaris and Xavier is actually good. And I think that's where I come down is like I think the first 5 minutes and the last 5 minutes are really good, and then the middle is just kind of a mess. And that's why I'm at a 6.5 out of 10, and that is higher than you, I know for sure.
I have it at a 5, man. Like the storyline was whatever, man. It was just
It
so
is a
like
mess. It
it's
is
a
a mess.
mess. It's wacky. I do like the Polaris stuff, and I like the fact that she's owning up and they're building her character up as like not necessarily the replacement Magneto, but like the new generation Magneto with a more modern mindset, less focused on the hatred and revenge, and more focused on like the saving factor, like you know what I mean, like that kind of feeling. So I like where it's going, and I just hope that it's crucial to the overall plot because like it's either got to
Yeah.
be like Cable, some form of like Cable and Polaris are going to be the ones that take down Apocalypse. It's either going to be one of the two. It feels like it should be more Cable, but like with the stakes involved with Xavier now, it's like it's going to be a collaborative effort to take this guy down. So we'll see where it's leading to, but it feels like they're just setting up people to take down the drag. Like what's that's the phrase by Kevin Sullivan in terms of wrestling? You need a dragon and dragon slayers,
Hmm.
and they're setting up a bunch of dragon slayers for the dragon that is Apocalypse. If that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I feel really confident. I mean, like, I think the Polaris stuff, I think it works. I think we got to a good place with it, so that's why I'm feeling better about it. I'm really compelled by like the X Factor as like police and X Force is like more terrorists, like basically Che Guevara in a lot of ways. So I'm curious where this is all going to go. But again, I really wish that we had more time to breathe with all of this, and that we could get like another X Force X Factor episode, which I don't think we're going to get because I think next week we're going in like Friends of Humanity territory. I think we're actually getting Colossus next week. So we're going to be going into some weird territory, but we'll see. We will see what happens.
For sure, and we will record again in a couple weeks just to kind of wrap everything up because originally our run was going to be the 3 episodes and the two every week, but it just made kind of more sense to do three, three, three. So we're sticking to this format, and we'll do you the one more episode in a couple of weeks to wrap everything up. But solid run so far. I'd say it started out strong, kind of went down a tad bit with the Polaris stuff, but I feel like overall
I
this
mean,
season is like still
that's
about
what's
an
going
eight
to
and a
happen
half
in
out
the
of 10.
middle, right? Like it's the like again when you're doing 10 episode seasons, like you have to have some build up and then some winding down, and I think that's what these last 2 episodes have been. And if we looked at the first season, I'm sure we would find the same thing. We would find that these middle couple of episodes were a little bit wind down, and now we're going
Yeah.
to pick things up.
The one thing I wanted to ask you, just this is like a geek question, geek tech question here
Oh God.
for weapons, lies, X videotape or whatever, or DVDs, I should say. Do you think that they recorded the original footage on DVDs and had DVDs like before everyone else, like in the 80s? Or did they actually transfer the footage from VHS to DVD, which is a hassle within itself because a lot of people did that transferring their libraries in the 90s and 2000s?
I mean, I'm going to guess they were on VHS for sure.
Okay, because it just seems like because you know the thing about military technology about how they usually get it 10 to 15 years before like regular people, right? Like that's like they got the internet in the 60s, sort of. So I was thinking like maybe they had DVDs in the 80s and they just didn't tell us, which would have been mind blowing. But you know that's where my brain goes when I see these little things like, oh, it's 1997 and they got all these DVDs from like camera footage. Like, did they record this on
Yeah.
DVD itself? So that's where my nerd brain went. So, especially when I saw the title footage, I was like, oh, DVDs in 1997, huh? Okay,
Uh
gotcha.
huh.
Yeah, and I think the first DVD in '97 might have been, I want to say Titanic. No, that was '98. I don't even think there were DVDs in '97.
Sir, I owned the double VHS version of Titanic, so I know all about that. It's the two most prized double VHSs I ever had were WrestleMania 4 and Titanic.
I'll tell you which one has a lot more value right now for sure, and that's WrestleMania 4. And I think you get like if you still have it, dude, a good $30. If
Sadly,
the Hogan
sadly, I don't.
Okay,
I don't
if
have
if
it.
the Hogan doesn't pop up and it's broken, about $15. But if it still pops out, you know what I'm talking about, the 2 tapes and Hogan pops up, that goes for good money because
I
it's still in good
love
condition.
that they literally cut it off in the middle of a barrel. It's chef's kiss. All right, so that is it.
Yeah,
We will be back in a couple weeks to talk about the X-Men again. We are going to be back next week, though, Brian. Can you believe it? We have 2 episodes of Batman to talk about next week, as it'll be season 2 returning
yeah.
to Amazon
It's
Prime.
for some reason my thinking was they were dropping them all at the same time. And I
Which
guess
they are. I think they are.
so I don't want to get ahead of myself, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm trying to pace myself because I know you just jumped the gun and like immediately watched all of the new season of King of the Hill. I was like,
So
whoa,
here's the
man.
thing. My semester starts in like a month, so I got to get on this shit, man. Like Cape
I
Crusader.
get you. You can't slow burn like me when I slow burn throughout the year. Like I'm still in the middle of the Godzilla season 2 Monarch series because I want to finish it right when the new Godzilla movie comes out in November. See how I did that? So I kind of slow burn that one.
Yeah, all 10 episodes of Batman Cape Crusader are on
Okay,
July the 31st.
I will have to pace myself because I know you can't seem to wait sometimes. Sometimes I can't either, but I will have to pace myself on this one because I really wanted to like kind of jump in because there was a lot of intrigue based on that Harley Quinn tease at the end of last season that I wanted to kind of like see if they're going to jump back into it immediately, but we'll see. We'll talk about that next week when we record. But it's going to be a fun summer with this X-Men stuff and Batman. Like we a couple of years ago, we did the same thing. So that these
Yeah,
vibes, man,
it's
these
fun.
comic vibes, it's fun. So
I mean, and we got King of the Hill. It's like the 90s all over again.
Bobby Hill, man. Well, maybe we could talk about that in another episode. But man, I think that dude is a terrible businessman. But I think that's the point.
I think he's a great character. I genuinely think that what they've done with
Awesome
him.
character, just bad with money. Because that dude does not know how to run a restaurant. I don't think. But
I mean, he's not the owner though. He's the chef. He's
I
not the owner.
know everyone tells me that, and I get it. But man, yeah, I don't see the restaurant lasting. That's just me.
All right. So for Brian, I'm Jerome. Thank you so much for listening. We will be back next week with another YouTube exclusive talking about the first 2 episodes of Batman the Caped Crusader.